Am I on? Hey, we're on, guys. Hey, welcome to the LGBTQ Voice. My name is Traci Welch, and I'll be hosting tonight. Sorry, we're a little bit behind, a couple minutes for starting. We were actually had other guests lined up for today, but there's so much going on in the community. The Women's Center it was not able to come, but I'm going to read a statement from them in a moment. The network was actually invited to go to the Human Relations Commission's event yesterday, the first annual Human Rights Day, which is 12/10 every year, and they decided to have a luncheon and awards ceremony. So we have video from that we'll be showing today. And before we get to that, I need to tell you about the passing of Belle Pellegrino. Belle passed away yesterday of cancer. She was a true pioneer in our community. She was an original 76er of Rhode Island Pride. She went to court to fight to have the first Pride in Rhode Island. She was Emperor 16 and 24, the Imperial Court of Rhode Island, just a mentor to us all. She's been at our Pride, which was New Bedford Pride formerly, and now South Coast Pride. She was on our show in June talking about marches and political movements. That's the picture that you see up there on the screen right now. So next week, we're actually going to be inviting guests of the Imperial Court of Rhode Island and people that knew Belle very well, and we're going to do a tribute to Belle and the 76ers. Belle was a minister. Belle served our country. Belle was in the Marine Corps. There's a lot about this woman's history, being the first 76er going to court and fighting, being the first emperor of the Imperial Court of Rhode Island. So at this time, I'd like to give a moment of silence to Belle. Thank you. If you're going to go to the Mass service for Belle will be Thursday, December 13th at the Holy Spirit Church on 1030 Dexter Street in Central Falls, Rhode Island. It is a Mass only. I'm not sure. I can only guess that the Imperial Court of Rhode Island, I know they have their event coming up. They have a reign that they do every year. That's going to be coming up, so hopefully they'll be doing something for Belle, and I'm sure other people will be as well. But Belle has been so instrumental in our community that we will definitely have next week's show in honor of Belle and her community commitment. And we talk about the seniors that have been on our show many times. They're like, the job is never done, and Belle was that kind of person. The job is never done. There's always something to fight for. And I guess it's a good segue of us talking about, what the event that we went to yesterday. And again, it's a New Bedford Human Relations Commission first annual Human Rights Day luncheon and awards presentation. Excuse me, just real quick, I want to go back to the Women's Center. So the Women's Center does a lot of work in our community. I asked them if they could write me a letter for me to read on the show, and it kind of goes back with last week's show of homelessness. So this is from Pam McLeod from the Women's Center. The Women's Center serves victims of domestic and sexual violence through community-based and residential services. This is a particularly difficult time of year to be in a shelter, and far too many families need to seek that help to be safe and free from harm from someone close to them. These families need your help, and the best way to help is through donation of gift cards. They are always the right size. Families need supermarket cards for help with family food needs. Too many of our community-based clients are food insecure. And Walmart, Target, and drugstore cards to help with other necessities, especially over-the-counter cold and flu remedies. If you want to help, you can contact Amy King at 508-996-3343. I'm going to say it again. Amy King at 508-996-3343, extension 25. Amy also needs help with our gift wrapping project, a fundraising event at the Dartmouth Mall. Check with Amy for details about how you can have fun helping to wrap holiday gifts while raising money for the Women's Center programs and services. Thank you. So I do have a couple comments. Sorry for your loss. Rest in peace. Comstock Melissa, Belle, rest in peace. And before that, Heather Trombley, hi Tracy. So again, you guys, it was very disturbing yesterday morning. It was upsetting seeing the Facebook messages about Belle, and I guess the most I got from that was the love that that Belle shared, and her family and the Imperial Court of Rhode Island will continue to share after that. So I brought my tissue just in case, but I'm doing pretty good right now. So yesterday, the South Coast LGBTQ Network was invited to the Human Rights Day, which is terrific. Marcy Peter Christian from the Human Relations Commission sent us a private email and made sure that we represented there. There were so many different people there. We were at the New Harbor Hotel, an amazing place, amazing lunch. It was just nice to see familiar faces. The mayor was there. It was just really, really nice. Representative for the police department was there. Tony Cabral was there. So we're going to be showing you guys some video clips, and it's going to run straight through, and I apologize to AJ, our tech guy, who's amazing. I was trying to use our new video camera, and unfortunately, because I had done so many other events, my card got filled, so I had to use my phone and Rebecca's phone. So we're going to kind of do all the videos together in unison, but I first wanted to read to you guys, you know, the big thing that I got out of it. It says, this year's Human Rights Day advocates for everyone to stand up for their rights and those of others, civil, economic, political, and cultural rights. It wasn't just a gay day, it wasn't just a black day, it wasn't just a this day, it's a Human Rights Day. So I know this is the LGBTQ voice, and Kevin does a lot of research for us, so thank you, Kevin, so much. I appreciate this. He got some research for LGBTQ right milestones throughout history in the U.S. There's a whole bunch of pages, so I'm just going to read a couple first before we see the videos. Excuse me. April 1952, the American Psychiatric Association Diagnostic Manual lists homosexuality as a psychopathic personality disturbance. April 27, 1953, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signs an executive order that bans homosexuals from working for the federal government, saying they are a security risk. June 28, 1969, police raid the Stonewall Inn in New York. Protests and demonstrations begin, and it later becomes known as the impetus for the gay civil rights movement in the United States. And that's why we have Pride every June. 1973, this one was kind of cool. Lambda Legal becomes the first legal organization established to fight for the equal rights of gays and lesbians. Lambda also becomes their own first client after being denied nonprofit status. The New York Supreme Court eventually rules that Lambda Legal can't exist as a nonprofit. March 26, 1973, first meetings of Parents and Friends of Gays, which goes national as Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, in 1982, and PFLAG still exists today. So PFLAG is an amazing organization. I'm not going to read all the dates. I kind of highlighted some that were kind of like, wow, that was pretty cool. So January 9th, 1978, Harvey Milk is inaugurated as San Francisco's city supervisor and is the first openly gay man to be elected to a political office in California. October 14th, 1979, the first national march on Washington for lesbian and gay rights takes place. It draws an estimated 75,000 to 125,000 individuals marching for LGBTQ rights. 1983, Lambda Legal wins People versus West 12-tenant court, the first HIV/AIDS discrimination lawsuit. Neighbors attempted to evict Dr. Joseph Sonnabend from the building because he was treating HIV-positive patients. I think that one just kind of kills me. Your doctor's going to help somebody, and the neighbors don't want him to go in. So I'm going to read a couple more, what do I want to call these, quotes or statistics that Kevin came up with. But I want to go back to the award winners. So it was really a great honor to hear these folks and what they had to say. But the award recipients were Robert French, PhD from North Star's Director of Policy and Program Development, has served on numerous state-level boards and local organizations. He has engaged in public policy advocacy to expand and improve services for children and families. Bob started working in the agency in 1980, and for over 30 years has been advocating on behalf of the most disenfranchised. When people ask Bob why he doesn't teach at the college level when he has a doctorate degree, his usual reply is, I want to help get children to college. Preparing children to succeed in school and in life has been the work he has chosen. From his entry into the early childhood education field back in 1980, his service to New Bedford's children and their families has both fueled and guided his public policy efforts for more and better programs for all children and families, recognizing that most of our development occurs before we arrive at school. Bob sees early education for all as an equalizer that can help assure that all children have equal educational opportunity. In the past decade, his work has encompassed youth development, planning and finding funding to support at-risk youth and building personal, social, academic, and civil skills they need to be safe, healthy, successful, and responsible. So you'll start seeing videos in a few moments, and it's just going to kind of run through its course. But the second honoree was Rosemary Gill, is the Executive Director for Programming and Development at the Zeitarian Theater, the Z, folks, here in New Bedford. She has worked at the Z since 2007, initially as Assistant Director and Director of Education until her promotion to Executive Director in 2013. She is responsible for all aspects of curating and programming, audience development, marketing, fundraising, and theater management. During her tenure as Executive Director, the Z has been recognized for excellence in programming by the National Endowment for the Arts, the New England Foundation for the Arts, the Island Foundation, and the Carney Foundation. Rosemary recently received the Brotherhood Award from Prince Henry Society for her leadership in developing Viva Portugal, a free downtown festival, and was honored by the Dartmouth School Music Association for her commitment to arts education. She serves on the Executive Committee of the New Bedford Lyceum and New Bedford Regeneration Committee, the New Bedford Seaport Cultural District, and is an active member in the New Bedford Economic Development Council. The New Bedford Lyceum, we actually met a couple weeks ago. About 40 organizations came together. There's actually a diversity group right now. So we had NAACP, Bruce was there. We had Third Eye was there. Our NV Agley group was there. Human Relations Commission was there. There were so many groups and organizations that met at the Z. They did a breakfast for us, talk about diversity in New Bedford, and we're going to branch out to other communities as well. But we wanted to kind of start a group and kind of meet monthly and kind of see how we can help each other out. Almost like the South Coast LGBTQ network formed. A bunch of organizations that were dipping into Lipsky Whitaker Fund formed this network to help us out, and that's what this whole Lyceum, I'm going to probably say it wrong, could be Lyceum, is doing. So I'm very fortunate that I was able to see Rosemary yesterday as well. So the third recipient of the award was for the victims, the effort for victims of Hurricane Maria. The Puerto Rican relief effort for victims of Hurricane Maria answered the call for food and generated supplies. In an outpouring of generosity, hundreds of New Bedford area people rallied and collected supplies and resources to send to people in need in Puerto Rico. It was heartening to see that the contributions came from not just people who have family and friends living on the island, caring people from all backgrounds, young and old, stepped up to help with relief efforts. Donations poured in from New Bedford's multi-ethnic working class neighborhoods as well as from surrounding more affluent communities. In these times when it seems that our society is so fractured and conflicted, this sustained voluntary collective action where individuals galvanize their personal work networks for a common cause, demonstrated there is strength and creativity in the differences between us that can make us all stronger and collectively more resilient. Across the diversity that makes us smarter and more innovative, we have the power to transform walls and bridges. So as you guys watch these videos, you're going to hear from the mayor was there. There was a proclamation which Dana Ribeiro read. We had Tony Cabral was there, state representative, and New Bedford Public Schools Superintendent Thomas Anderson was there. The welcoming remarks were from Estella Ribeiro, and the commentary from Marcy Pina Christian. And it's like I said, it was a really, really great day. We broke for lunch. It was a great, great camaraderie of the community coming together. And I do apologize that my videotaping wasn't the best it could be, and we don't have video of the awards for the Hurricane Maria Committee, and I apologize for that. But I want to get going. We're going to have AJ watch the video, and let me just see if there's a couple more comments real quick. Let's see. There's just some rainbows. People are watching. Some of you welcomes. And guys, thank you for watching. We're going to watch this video, and we're going to talk a little bit more when the videos are done. So please tune in and watch the videos. Thank you.
For being here. Human Rights Day advocates that everyone stand up for their rights and the rights of other people. And as I look around this room, I see that I am in very good company. because I know most of you here, and I know that all of you stand up for your rights and the rights of everyone else. It is indeed a pleasure to have you here. This is our first time of welcoming and honoring, and the people that we honored are people who have worked so diligently. And I think later on in the program, you will really be impressed at the work that our honorees have done for this community. Let me take a moment and just tell you a little bit about Human Rights Day. Excuse me, I now have something called age onset asthma, which I never had, but on my 70th birthday, that's what I got for as a gift. So it's gonna get me being out of breath, but I am okay. Human Rights Day is observed every year on December 10th, which is the anniversary of the day that the United Nations General Assembly adopted in 1948. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 2018, Human Rights Day will mark the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And if you look on your table, you will see that there's a blue paper on your table that lists some of the human rights. We celebrate all of our alienable rights and freedoms, including the right to education, a decent living, health care, and the right to live free from any discrimination, among others. Despite the efforts to protect human rights, its hostility toward human rights and those who defend them continues to rise. As a result, this year's Human Rights Day advocates for everyone to stand up for their rights and those of others, civic, economic, political, and cultural. At this time, I would like to recognize the members of the Human Relations Commission who worked very diligently with myself and Marcy to choose the recipients for today. And they are Carol Walsh, Jeff Coster, Marcus Chummitz, Zoe Hansen, Maria Rosario, and Bethany, can't pronounce her name correctly? Futo. Unfortunately, they could not all be here today, but they have worked diligently behind the scenes to choose these awards. Without any further ado, I will now introduce to you our head table. The Honorable Mayor Mitchell, Representative Tony Cabral, City Councilor and my niece, Dana Rivera, Superintendent Tom Anderson, Darlene Spencer, Robert French, Rosemary Gill, and the Reverend Doug Cedarberg.
I'm back here.
Good afternoon, all, and also seated at the table is Christine Arsenault, Assistant Chief of Staff. Welcome to you all. The Human Relations Commission is a 9-member body appointed by the Mayor and approved by the City Council. Its purpose is to promote mutual understanding and respect and encourage and assure equality of opportunity of all people of the city based on their protected class. 2 years ago, we requested that the protected classes be amended to mirror the state, and we added mental and physical disability, gender identity, age, and ancestry to the city ordinance. We fulfill this mission through programming, issues we might support, and helping with the enforcement of laws through intake of complaints, mediation to resolve them, or referral to MCAD and the AGO, which is also our partners. And so establishing this day does fall within the purpose of the HRC, and for many human rights commissions, this day is recognized. For many of you, this is probably your first time in this lovely hotel, so please take the time to walk around. We thank the New Bedford Harbor Hotel for their graciousness in hosting us today. Chef Octavio has prepared a delicious lunch for you. So at this time, we're going to break and have lunch. Excuse me, Christine. But before we break, you know, and this is what I love because we're friends, we're colleagues, we all work together today, so there's no formality here. So before we break for that delicious lunch, I am going to call the Honorable Mayor Mitchell up to the podium, and he has an announcement to make.
Well, to add to the informalities, the way I'm dressed today, Marcy.
That's okay, we don't discriminate in this room.
Yeah. I always feel very when I dress down, I always feel very self-conscious around Marcy. She always looks just so. Look at us, we're like oil and water. Well, anyway, I will, as I am standing between all of you at lunch, I will keep it brief, but it's great to be here today for lots of reasons. One is just a real source of pride and gratitude for the fabulous work that the HRC does all the time. In New Bedford, although like other places we celebrate UN Human Rights Day and we mark the 70th anniversary of the Declaration, this comes easier to New Bedford than it does most places. Equality and fairness are in this city's DNA. And it really, since our Quaker founding a couple of hundred years ago, and this has been a place that more than most, and though we are not perfect, more than most, we really try to treat other people on their own terms, based on their character and not on some outward appearance, whatever that is, or the way they live their lives. And it's a great source of pride for me, and humbled as to be the mayor of this place that really sets an example, not just for the rest of Massachusetts, but for the rest of the world. So I want to just thank Marcy and Stella and the entire board for not just being on the committee, but for really taking its charge seriously. I mean, you guys are a group of really thoughtful people, and I picked you, by the way, so I think I knew what I was doing at the time. But you take your charge very seriously. You take what the commission is about really seriously, and our city's better for it. And it's not just, you're not there to put people in their place and to call out bad things, although that's sometimes appropriate, but to really help bring people together. I think that's really the strength of the commission. And so, we've been doing it for a while here, and we live in a time where I think we have to be even more vigilant, work even harder to bring people together, because the threats to unity are as great as they've been in a long time, certainly in memory. And so, as we look forward, let's continue to take up the mantle of not just equality, but also just general fairness to other people, and care for those who, to encourage those who don't understand others and where they're coming from, to foster that kind of understanding. I would be remiss if I didn't cite the great work of the awardees today. I was disappointed when I heard about I couldn't say anything about the awardees. I thought it was a surprise, but I looked and it's right in the program. Is it? It's in.
Yes.
so I can talk about
Who
it.
said you couldn't say anything?
I'm not going to disclose that. So I will, because so the first awardees are very deserving, and in no particular order, just because I was sitting right next to her. Rosemary Gill has, along with just her partner in crime, Justin McCoy, have turned the Z around, saved the Zaitirian Theater over the last several years. I got a glimpse where I was at just the level of distress that organization was in just a few years ago, and I think there were a few people in this room who were, aware of what it was facing, and she, along with some very intrepid board members, took a handful of courageous steps and committed themselves to making sure that place works, not just as a performing arts center, but as a place where the community can come together. And so, although when we think of the Z, we first think of all the great shows that are there, and that it holds, and the economic stimulus to the downtown every show offers, but there's also the work allowing the doors to be open for school children, for seniors, for community groups that wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to be on the big stage. They are a true community partner in every respect, and that wouldn't happen without Rosemary's leadership. Bob French has been at the forefront of ed reform in the city for several decades now, and he is somebody who, about whom it can be said that kids are first and foremost in his mind as he does his thing, not just at North Star, but as somebody who would really lead the charge a few years ago for ed reform when the city really wasn't embracing the idea, but was running away from the idea that schools had to be fixed in a big way. You were there, and it's, as you look back at anybody like Bob, who's done great work and done so courageously when things weren't popular, you look back and think, well, you assume that it would just happen automatically, right? And inevitably people would have come around to the idea that the schools had to be fixed. It doesn't work that way. It takes people to stand up and lead, and that's what Bob did then, and that's what he continues to do through his work. And so I really wanted just to let everybody know publicly, Bob, just how much we appreciate what you've done in the course of your career. And then last, Darlene, who's working it all the time, but is being honored, could be honored for many things today, but we're honoring Darlene today, appropriately so, for the work that she did last year in the wake of Hurricane Maria, to really reach out and help folks who are coming here from the devastation that was wrought by that storm, and to make sure that they had a roof over their head, that they got plugged into the Career Center, that the kids found a way into schools. I mean, all these things that we sometimes take for granted. She was making sure that she knew that we couldn't take them for granted, and that these people some of them were just literally coming here with only the shirt on the back, had a way forward. And you led a great team, a number of people, you'll be the first to say this, that should be given credit to, but you certainly deserve tremendous credit, Darlene, for the work last year, and you really got a number of people's lives on track, and probably it would be not too much to say, you'd probably save some lives along the way. So I just want to thank all of you guys. You'll hear more about it after lunch. And then I just wanted to say, there are many others here in this room and outside the room who, follow the lead of the commission. Some of whom are here today. Our new superintendent, of course, Thomas Anderson, who is entirely committed, all in on making sure that every kid has opportunity to be before him or her to make the most of their God-given potential. Dana Rivera was always at the forefront of the fight for fairness from the City Council. Tony Cabral has been doing it for over 2 decades now, and in the State House as well. And again, Tony's doing pulling the Marcy on me. He wears a jacket and tie. This is not the first time he's done that to me. And then our police department and many others. Deputy Chief Paul Olvera is here today on behalf of the chief. But, we have leadership in our police department that works hand in glove with the commission. And I want to just thank all of you. I mean, so many of you here that look around the room really do the hard work to make our community a better place. And I know that, especially in this holiday season, it really counts for a lot. So I have a little proclamation on the occasion. I won't read it because I know I'm standing in the way of lunch, but to mark the 70th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights by the UN. But know that we've got a great thing going here in New Bedford when it comes to making sure everybody has a shot, and just ask everybody to keep it going. Thank you.
City Councilor Dana Rivera, who will read to us a proclamation.
Hello, everyone. What a great day it is to celebrate human rights in New Bedford. As Mrs. Rivera mentioned, she's also my aunt and kind of my co-mom, because in New Bedford we had a Black Panther Party, and my father was the leader of the party, and then was targeted by the FBI and was in prison for 13 years for a murder he didn't commit. So my mom was in school and working, and my other mom raised me and made sure that I went to school with my ribbons in my hair, came home and did my homework, and my earliest training with human rights were sitting at the kitchen table where her and Uncle Archie would talk about what they read in the paper and what they experienced in New Bedford. So thank you for that. She's been working at this way before she ever joined the Human Rights Commission. So this is from City Council, and it's a resolution declaring December 10th Human Rights Day in the city of New Bedford. Whereas on December 10th, 1948, the Declaration of Human Rights was established, recognizing that basic rights and fundamental freedoms are inherent to all human beings, and whereas Human Rights Day throughout the world advocates for teaching and education to promote respect for those rights and freedoms and secure their effective recognition and observance, and whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. And whereas Human Rights Day is observed every year within the United States and internationally, and December 10th, 2018 marks the 70th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights. And whereas the mission of the New Bedford Human Rights Relations Commission is to promote mutual understanding and respect among all of the people, to encourage, assure equality of opportunity for all people, and to conduct programs that will carry on this provision. Now therefore be it resolved that the New Bedford City Council hereby supports the day New Bedford Human Relations Commission in declaring December 10th, 2018 as Human Rights Day within the City of New Bedford, advocating for everyone to stand up for their rights and those of others, whether they be civil, economic, political, and cultural rights.
At this time, I would like to introduce to you Superintendent Tom Anderson. It is my pleasure to introduce this man. As Article 26 states that we all have the right to education. And before we were lucky enough to have Mr. Anderson come to New Bedford, I had the privilege, along with North Star, of observing him in a fabulous mentoring boys to men program. So I say this, that I am watching you, I see you, and I like what I see, and we are very lucky to have you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. So it's an honor to have an opportunity to share a few words with you this afternoon. And when we think about human rights and all of the different components as it relates to education, so what I thought I would do is I always like the presentations, they have to be able to hold my own attention. So I tend to use videos and pictures and those type of things. I'll keep it within a short time frame. I also have another meeting tonight, so I have to do some talking there too. But as we look at this, what I wanted to just show this clip.
70 years ago, upon the ashes of countries devastated by war, the Holocaust, and economic depression, war leaders devised a plan. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was conceived as a detailed map to guide the world's people out of conflict and suffering, and ensure that relations within societies and between states could be sustainable and peaceful. The Declaration inspired liberation movements and led to better access to justice, social protection, economic opportunities, and political participation. Wherever respect for its commitment has been present, the dignity of millions have been uplifted, suffering prevented, and the foundations laid for a more just world.
So when we think about the foundation of what human rights are and the entitlement that we all have as people, it's always, what I want to do is to share a little bit of the history, but then also think about, when we think of standing up for rights, what exactly are we doing? On a daily basis, how do we infuse that into our lives? We think about in education, we talk about teachable moments, and when's the opportunity to find that teachable moment? It's every day, all day, having that opportunity to have an influence and impact on someone else. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, as far as it being, by him speaking, as far as the 70th anniversary, December 10th is always that day. And how much do we really know about that? And I think sometimes we really, as going through and being asked to give a few words, I did a little bit of research because we learn these things as we go through school and then we forget them a little bit. And even though I'm in education, we can't remember everything. So when you're having those conversations, it's really, what exactly are we planning to do?
Today, many of us are fearful about the way the world is heading. Human values are under attack. Inequality, poverty, racism, conflicts, climate change. We must draw a line and stand up for our rights and those of others. Wherever we are, at school, at work, or on social media, we can all make a difference. Every day, everywhere, stand up for human rights and our shared humanity.
So again, when we think about the historical context of it, just because it started in 1948 in terms of with the United Nations being formed in 1945. But before that, there were several other pieces of history that when we look back upon that, to kind of be mindful of as far as where we were as a world. This is not just something that we look for in the United States and we know the current. In education, we don't talk about our politics and those type of things. We talk about the world that we live in, and regardless of what politics we are, we need to know how we should treat people and how we need to interact as far as how we make the world a better place. So thinking of Eleanor Roosevelt, who had some help from others to really push this through in developing the first Human Rights Commission, during that time in May 1949. But then also I found some of these dates which I thought I wanted to highlight. So in 539 BC, Cyrus the Great from Persia conquered the Babylonians and freed them, because we kind of figured that having slaves at that time, really, everyone had rights. And if we think of from 539 and the Magna Carta from England in 1215 and the Petition of Right, all of these things that led us to 1964 Civil Rights Act, which was a different version of something that had already come through. So what jumps out to me is, why is it that we're still trying to figure this out? Why are we still trying to figure out why other people should be treated as people? I thought it was very interesting when we think about in England during that time, 1628, the Petition of Right, and then those individuals that came and settled in America, in this country, decided that other people weren't as good as them and should be treated as human beings. But before they came, they had something letting them know that all people have rights. So where is it that we continue throughout time and history, we talk, but we're not following through and leading with that level of action? There are many examples of freedoms and fighting for what's right. From malaria in Pakistan to Desmond Tutu, Nelson Mandela to Cynthia McKinney here in the United States. I mean, these are people that we all will recognize, and we see what is the work that we're trying to do. Why is it that we still are talking about this versus committing ourselves to having more action and getting things done? More again with our country in the United States. So use the visuals, because you see this picture that says, we don't need more stuff, we need more humanity. We need to treat people as people. We need to make sure that we're not putting our own needs in front of someone else. It doesn't mean always put yourself in back of everyone, but really understand what is that level of impact that we need to have on all of our, it's not just about our students and our teachers, from my perspective. We're all people. I've said that before, we're in the business of people. And as our quote says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the right of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly, defend the rights of the poor and needy. And as we go through our days and thinking about what is our role in being able to do that? No matter what role, office we have, anything. What is it that we're doing? Where's that teachable moment? As I look at this, and I created this in terms of for the educational side of it, to say, hey, the students are in the middle. We talk about our most valuable commodity, so to speak. That is the future. Those little people that grow to be big people, and then sometimes act the same way the big people that model that behavior for them. So how do we break that cycle? And really seeing that from a historical context, how do we get this work done?
Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young, old, gay, straight, men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. That's what I see. That's the America I know.
So, we have eloquent speakers that can stand up, say all these things, they change offices, we do this. How do we recapture those thoughts and those feelings on our level? It doesn't have to be the President of the United States or someone in Congress. How do we make sure, as we're interacting with all people every day, so that way next December 10th, we have something else that we can be more proud of than that previous year. So again, thinking of the center and putting everything around, putting all of our resources in places that we need to have them. How do we, again, continue to support? And it's not about finances. I'll be delivering the budget stuff pretty soon, and we'll talk about what our needs are for our school system. I don't believe in putting our needs of our school system over any other agency or office. We look at how do we do this work together. There are so many places where things overlap. How do we work together to make sure we're not just saying we're working together, but living through? Because if you have to continue to tell someone we're going to work together and you're not doing it, you can save that energy of saying those words because it doesn't mean much. Again, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and in rights. So again, we know these things. It's how are we living it, what are we willing to do to stand up for what's right. And I shared this before, I shared it in convocation. Part of this is a really good song, but when you think about how, I'll just play it. You can feel it.
You can have everything, but what does it mean? It all means nothing. You don't care for something, but you can't just turn the time. You got to work that hard. Yes, you do. It all means
So when we think about, again, what is it that we're willing to do every day, all day? And we know it's easy to say that we're going to stand up for something. But as we work together and truly collaborate, take those teachable moments, don't let people off the hook for saying ignorant things, make sure we check ourselves and make sure that we are more responsive, more responsible, that we also get rid of our own our own biases, because we all have them as human beings and as people. But really think about, we're very fortunate and privileged to be in this country that we're in right now. And not everyone has that. And we have a lot of influence and leverage to make things happen throughout our country and throughout the world. So again, thank you for this opportunity to discuss with you for a few minutes, and congratulations to our 3 honorees.
Bob really understands and encompasses an obvious truth that continues to evade so many, and that is that quality education for children is neither a budget issue or a deficit issue, nor is it a political issue. It is a moral issue. Bob French has led morally, fought tirelessly, and given of himself endlessly. It comes as no surprise to those of us blessed to know him personally.
Trying to change it. I'm grateful that children force me to be hopeful each day, because after all, each child deserves our best hope. The African-American author June Jordan puts it well. To rescue our children, we have to let them save us from the power we embody. We will have to trust the very difference that they forever personify, and consider that we will follow them, that a little child will lead us back to the child we will always be, vulnerable and wanting and hurting for love and beauty. Thank you.
Not often that you get the privilege
privilege of presenting awards to people that you know and love and respect with the way that I respect Dr. French and our next awardee, Rosemary Gill. About 10 years ago, I had a little doll sitting in my office. I was on probation that needed to do community service, and he said he didn't like any of the community service programs and that he really liked the arts. So I made a phone call to the Zeitarian, and from that, a 10-year relationship developed. Rosemary allowed this young person to go to the Zeitarian, got to work with a cameraman and do all the backstage kinds of things. Hence, he got a wonderful experience, and I didn't have to violate his probation. Rosemary over the years, I'd make these phone calls, I'd say, can we do this, can we do that? And she always was, whatever you need, Sal, whatever you need, how many kids are you bringing, what can we do? So Rosemary, I feel that you understand that every child is born with creative potential. I believe that you know that it is our job in early learning programs and in later school years to nurture the creativity and support resourceful problem solving, imaginative thinking, and transfers of skills and knowledge to new experiences. Throughout the years, I have witnessed the Rosemary's programming and inclusion of students in theater, the growing evidence about how arts participation helps children develop strong social and emotional skills. Rosemary has supported the need to delve deeper into how and why the various art forms impact children's learning. And then most importantly, Rosemary has been instrumental to getting this information into the hands of teachers who need more assurance that increasing the use of the arts can benefit children's learning in language and literacy, math, and science. And most importantly, in social, emotional development. We know that social emotional development is at the foundation of learning across the life course, but especially with young children. Research has found that a strong social emotional base in early childhood is associated with academic success and long-term outcomes like higher education, of employment, and lower likelihood of involvement with the criminal justice system. It is our seminal work together, Rosemary at the Z, and me in the juvenile court system, we were able to engage marginalized families and children into the wonder of theater. A particular note was the first time that I was able to take a group of young teenage girls to view the magic of Alvin Ailey. Rosemary worked tirelessly to ensure with my heartfelt appreciation for all that you have done over the years.
You're making me a bit emotional also. I have words that I plan to say, but I'm going to change the course a little bit. Because having Stella stand here and speak about the last 10 years, certainly during my tenure at the Z, has brought back a lot of very good memories, and it really shows the power that the performing arts can have and over a child, over an adult, anyone who is seeking joy or belonging, and that's what we can bring brought each other to tears because we were recalling one of the performances where there was a young man who came, and it was the first time that he had ever been exposed to live performing art. And it was more than just your typical program. It was a live theatrical presentation. And it involved both a pre and a post discussion with the audience. And he came after the performance and thanked me personally. And I was pleased by that, and it didn't necessarily stand out, but later Stella told me, he just doesn't do that. He is not accustomed to engaging with adults in that way. And so I felt, it sounds small, but it's those kinds of moments where children are given the opportunity that I belong there, and I deserve to be in a room where others who their whole lives have been exposed to theater, drama, music, perhaps their parents, a privilege. And for him to be there, and for the very first time, as a young man, maybe 15, 16, and to be able to express gratitude, to be able to realize that this was important and that he deserved to be there was remarkable. And we had many, many, many other moments like that that I'm very proud of. But I do have some words that I want to say, so if I can get over my emotion.
Appreciate you guys tuning in, but we wanted you guys to see what the Human Relations Commission is doing, and what's, as somebody said, Diane Barrows, nice to know what's happening in our city in the now and live. We talk about on our show about past and, events that happened years ago, and sometimes, where we're going forward. But I do want to apologize again, for the footage of Hurricane Maria Committee. What a great job they all did, and I apologize that we didn't get the footage right. We do all this as volunteers on our time and on our dime, as we say. So I know AJ is going to put up the LGBTQ voice. If you guys want to sponsor the show, we'll actually have funds to do the programming that we do in the community. You can do $100 just for a commercial. We'll just throw up a picture of your company or your business. We'll pop it up to $1,000, and that would be the New Bedford Guide going to your business and doing one commercial that they will post for 30 seconds to 1 minute for 10 shows that we have coming out. So again, there's a different levels of sponsorship that you could do to be part of the show, and maybe we could actually at one point get paid to actually have somebody do some more production for us, which would be amazing, I guess. AJ behind the scenes helps us out, so I apologize. We started a little bit late today. We're just trying to get the video going on that. I did want to give a shout out to Marcy Pina Christian. She's been on our show. We did a show on civil rights, and she was actually at the event, and you saw her here today, on the video. And Andre Silva was actually at our table from Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination, MCAD. He had been on our show, so it's just kind of nice to see some familiar faces. Jeff Costa, our yoga guru that starts off South Coast Pride every year. He is part of the commission. He actually welcomed us at the door. So seeing familiar faces in our community and getting to know more people in our community and outreach is what we're looking for. Fall River has a new Pride committee, and we actually went to their drag brunch that they had on Sunday, and it was amazing. It was at Tonics, so shout out to the Queens of the South Coast for that. Packed house, great day and a great event, and money raised for the Fall River Pride Committee. So one more thing I want to talk about the video before we kind of go off air, and a couple other announcements. The superintendent, Thomas Anderson, Rebecca and I actually talked and said, well, why don't we ask him for a meet and greet? So we actually went over and said hi. I introduced myself. We introduced Rebecca and told them that we actually just spoke at BSU, Bridgewater State University, on Thursday to over 100 people, about 80 students from local GSAs, elementary, high school, and college were there as well. And we wanted the superintendent to know that there are issues going on in New Bedford that we'd like to talk to him about, LGBTQ related. And obviously there's more issues at the school than just LGBTQ, but that's, where I'm at in my life right now for that. Not that I won't help anybody else out, because everybody needs a helping hand. But hopefully, we'll be able to sit down and meet with him in January and kind of get a foot in the door and maybe doing some more speaking engagements after school and doing some training for the teachers. I guess sensitive training, just different trainings that can be. When we spoke at BSU and I did a demonstration, the demonstration was, how many of you feel unsafe using your locker room at your school? And the hands that went up were amazed. Well, I was amazed by. How many of you feel unsafe using your restroom? 95% of LGBTQ youth have trouble sleeping at night. How many of you have trouble sleeping at night? We started off with slower questions or easier questions to homeless questions, to self-harm questions, to, unfortunately, attempted suicide questions. Sexual assault questions weren't as deep as it would be at our NB Agley, because there's more support there than I knew what some of these GSAs actually do. So we want to make sure that we bring the training that we've learned and we brought to BSU to possibly do something here at UMass Dartmouth. So I'm going to be reaching out to UMass Dartmouth and do something a little bit more localized here. The reason why we're at BSU is, again, that networking. Jeffrey, one of the students at their class, because they were doing their class project, hit my friend up, who works for her actually as an internship, Hollywood, and said, we're trying to do this project, we don't know where to start. And Hollywood said, why don't you talk to my friend Traci? And that's how the network got involved, networking, which is amazing. So we talked at BSU, we've talked at high school. So if you guys need more education, more resources, email Eileen at sclgbtqnetwork.org or myself, Traci, at sclgbtqnetwork.org. So next week we're going to be here. It's going to be the Belle show. We want to talk about Belle, talk about her life. And the next two shows, we're not here, guys. We're going to be closed, if you want to call it that. It's Christmas and New Year's, so we won't be here those nights. But they're going to take some of our past shows and kind of do some mix and matches and show some past shows on the 25th and whatever the hell the next holiday is, the 1st. Help me out here. New Year's Day holiday. Thanks, guys. I apologize for that. If you got any questions or whatnot, just hit us up by email, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. Bye.